The Doctor Is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Is this the Dr. Ray?
What are you asking me?
Are all people mentally ill?
I have no idea.
Boy, you hit the nail right on the head there.
Now, why would I say something so dumb?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
I don't remember what I said.
You're always contagious, by the way.
Am I really that awful?
I don't care. I'm not concerned with that stuff.
And I guess that's true, but doggone.
As usual, you're doing all the talking.
Well, are you better than God?
No way.
I'm going to give you some bad news. You got a problem.
I just wanted to call and get some wise advice, hopefully.
Now, from the studios of Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio, the hometown of Mother Angelica, here's Dr. Ray.
Self up to raise your IQ, to hear her say, call to get some wise advice, hopefully. The qualification there screams at me. She said it quietly, bangs into my consciousness. Nice to have you here. It's a good thing I have a sturdy self-image. Very nice to have you here. As a matter of fact, the program here, The Doctor Is In. I am the doctor who is in. I'm going to give you a 56-minute psych aerobic workout, taking your IQ into your target zone, zone 2, 70 to 85% of your max. Some zone 2s are 60 to 75%, but we're going to push you up there. We're going to try to sustain it. Now, if you leave the program at any time during the hour, there's going to be a decompression factor. I don't know. We've been doing studies to see how long it takes your IQ to go back down to where its resting state is, and seems to be about an hour. That seems to be our best assessment, but we're not sure in that. We got to get a bigger sample size. The number to raise your IQ, 877-573-7825. 877-57-EQUAL. That is the number. You will reach Eric Dumont, assuming that he has come into the program. Last I heard, he wasn't there yet, but Andrew Kruchek is there. 877-57-EQUAL. Would very much like to hear from you. And, of course, the reason is that you matter. You can call about kids or jobs or stress or people or situations, circumstances. You can call about questions in the culture at large and how that affects your lifestyle, your living, your moral walk. Call about questions, intersection of faith, psychology. I like those the best. You can call and ask me to pontificate. I like doing that a lot. Pontification is 3 steps above persiflage, 3 steps above badinage. It's magniloquence on display. No catachresis. Dr. Ray, why do you do that? Well, those are just words I wrote down. I have no idea what they mean, but I just wrote them down and I just thought I'd fling them out there. 877-57-EQUAL. That is the number. Okay. A couple of, well, this is kind of sad, really, a couple of self-promoting things here. The one, of course, maybe some of you have heard me nagging you about this before. That is our taping of Living Right with Dr. Ray in Atlanta. We will be, hold on there, find that what we have to have there. We will be in Atlanta on August 18th and 19th. Let's see, this looks great. Thanks. You're going to put that there and bring that so I can get all the info there. 18th and 19th, we will be taping 4 shows at the Holy Spirit Catholic Church. Live audience is an absolutely integral part of the program. You ask questions, you clap. We just have fun with the live audience. You are as much a part of the show as I am. So given that, if you'd like to be in that audience, all you do is go to thequestatlanta.com. They got it right there up front. You can register. Come to 1, 2, 3, 4 shows. They're at 5:30 and 7:15. You can stay over. A lot of people do stay over. They tell me they didn't plan to stay, but they do. And we usually have snacks in between to give you some stuff. And I love talking with you in between the programs. Now, I get to make up. You people don't. All right? And My makeup's taking a lot longer these days, or putting it on with a paint roller. And I was really upset. My producer, who sometimes does my makeup, he says, oh, so much work, so little time. But I'd love to have you. So please, our numbers are rising fast, and we would like to sign up a minimum of 100 people per program. So this is your formal invitation. Now, here's something I've never done before, ever. The calls on this program run the gamut, G-A-M-U-T, not gambit. Gambit's an opening move. Gamut, the continuum from little kids all the way to the elderly, life circumstances. But a lot of them have to do with parenting against a culture no longer on your side, struggles with discipline. Now, obviously, whatever we talk about here, I can go, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, give you some ideas. Well, Guadalupe Radio approached me. Dr. Ray, will you please offer a 7-week parenting course? 7 hours. You realize the detail we can get in with 7 hours? Now, I'll tell you a couple of things here. 1, I'm going to put you back in charge. That's 1. 2, I'm going to give you resolve and quiet, calm authority. 3, I'm going to make you be able to stand strong against that culture. 7 hours worth on Monday nights at 6 p.m. Central Time. Now, that doesn't start until, I believe, September 21st. We can only take 50 people. That's it. That's all we can take. So you go to GRN Online. That's the Guadalupe Radio Network website. GRN Online /Academy. And you'll get the details, what you see there. And I would love to have you. I'm looking forward to it, actually, to get to really talk about stuff. I mean, yeah, when I go a parenting talk, it's an hour long, something like that. But this is something where I can get into the really nitty-gritty, and we will deal with an awful lot of the discipline frustrations. And I guarantee you, I'm going to put you back in charge. Now, if you were to pay for those 7 hours through therapy, it's going to cost you a lot more than what it would cost you there for that 7-week parenting program. So this is your formal invitation. grnonline.com or /academy. All right. I'm going to say something probably going to get me in some trouble. So don't flick the radio off as soon as you hear it, thinking Grandy's gone over the limit on this one. As a minister friend of mine once said, when you made a comment, he'd say, put some clothes on that. So I'll put some clothes on it. Here's the comment. I really don't care what you people think. Wow. What the heck? This guy's doing a show where he's having people call in and he's trying to give them a few ideas. Oh, no, I'll broaden it out a lot further than that. It's just not you. I'm not saying you, listeners and callers, all 182 of you. No. Let's expand that to the world. I really don't care what you people think. What? Is that saying I'm superior? No, not at all. Here's what it's saying. I have one concern. When you say to me or about me, is it true? That's my concern. I owe it to you to do my best to objectively assess what you say. That's hard to do because by nature we're subjective. Lawyers will tell you anybody can sue anybody for just about any reason. There's a social parallel to that. Anybody can say anything to you or about you for any reason. As I get older, I am so acutely aware of that. And I would put myself at the mercy of anybody who said anything critical or put downish or nasty if I cared. Now, obviously, I would prefer people would say positive things. I'm not saying negative or positive, no matter to me. That's not true. That's not true at all. But I have learned that I'd best get to the point where I do not care what you think. Because if I do, my moods are controlled by you. Anybody in any kind of public forum, and this is a very small public forum, but anybody in any kind of public forum is going to get communications. My social media, my most recent post got 1 million views. Can you imagine the comments you're going to get on 1 million views? Some of them are really positive. Some of them, you'd think that roasting in hell is the kind thing to say. I can't care about that. As I said, the only thing I care about is what you say. Is it true or not? I look at myself. Now, some people have a lot more credibility with me to look at myself. If my wife says something, it's almost always true whether I like to hear it or not. But there are some people in my life that they got about a 20% truth quotient. That's what they've earned over the years. Ann Landers had a great line. I quoted it at the beginning of one of my book's chapters. Oh, I know what it was. It was in my social anxiety book coming out in the fall. She said, at age 20, we care what people think. At age 40, we don't care. And at age 60, we realized they were not thinking about us at all. I really don't care what you think. Because if I did, I would be totally buffeted by opinions and comments. And some people would say, well, if you don't care, that's a sign of superiority. Oh, no. Actually, I'm going to twist this around on you. Heavily caring what other people think is kind of a sign of pride. Dr. Ray, how you getting that one? Because if I get really upset by what you think, much of the time underneath it is the attitude of, how dare you? How dare you say that about me? I'm not like that. You need to look at yourself. I don't deserve that. That's pride. Our Lord didn't deserve any derision whatsoever. He got more derision in 3 years than I get in my lifetime. Am I more deserving than Jesus? Am I the disciple better than the master? I think it's a very healthy attitude for you to have. I really don't care what you think. Because once you've assessed whether there's truth or not to the statement, you can't care. Because if you do, your emotions could go on for hours or days, months after what they said. Everybody has an opinion about everybody. You got to decide, is that opinion based on reality? And if it is, I better look at myself. But if it isn't, I can't give it much more than 8 or 10 seconds of my thinking time. 877-573-7825. Got a lot of nice calls up there. I ask you for your patience because I'll do my very best to get to you.
The Father Gabriel Richard Drama Alums present The Sound of Music at Milan High School. Elizabeth Champion directs Gabriel Richard's students and recent grads in Rodgers and Hammerstein's beloved musical. Set in 1938 Austria about an irrepressible novice nun assigned to be governess to the children of a stern widower with whom she unwittingly falls in love. Performances are July 30th through August 2nd at 7 p.m. with a 2 p.m. matinee on Sunday only. Tickets at Milan High School or at fgrhs.org/dramalums. Experience the fire of renewal at Detroit's Rising from the Ashes Eucharistic Revival. World-class speakers Bishop Daniel Flores, Father John Ricardo, Sister Mary Grace SV, and Jeff Cavins. And powerful worship led by Matt Maher and Sarah Croker. One day only, Wednesday, July 22nd at Huntington Place in downtown Detroit. Registration only $50 with $10 off for groups of 15 or more. Register today at risingrevival.org. That's risingrevival.org.
This program brought to you in part by Ave Maria, Florida, a big kind of small town where golf carts take you everywhere and there's always something fun around the corner. Discover championship golf, resort-style amenities, and a town center full of shopping and dining. With Ave Maria University and Ave Maria Catholic Church at its heart, it's a community full of connection and charm. More than 25 model homes are available for viewing. More information can be found at avemaria.com. That's avemaria.com.
Catholic Charities of Shiawassee and Genesee counties have been providing help and creating hope since 1941. It's the generosity of donors that allows them to provide necessary services such as their warming center, which provides refuge and comfort to thousands in our community. They also offer hot meals in their soup kitchens and help families make ends meet in their community closet. Even the smallest donation makes a meaningful difference. Join us in their mission by giving a donation at CatholicCharitiesFlint.org.
You heard of something called the Premack Principle? Premack Principle is pretty straightforward. It's probably named after the guy, some kind of university professor. Premack Principle says this: you use a high-frequency, desirable behavior to reinforce a low-frequency, undesirable behavior. So, for example, if I stick to my healthy food diet, I can reward myself at the end of the day with a piece of candy. Right? So high desire candy, low desire salads. But then I realized if I eat healthy, I can have one piece of candy. If I eat unhealthy, I can eat the whole bag. Got to know the loopholes. James from New Jersey is calling a situation here. Very common, very, very common across generations, especially across the generations that listen to Catholic networks. Hello, James.
Hello there.
Thanks for the call.
Thanks for taking my call, Doctor.
Yes, sir. What's up?
Okay, I had a situation recently. My daughter from her previous marriage is really, she's 44. She really doesn't talk to me very often. And also her daughter, she's 26, my first granddaughter, same thing. She doesn't talk to me very often. And recently I kind of put her on the spot. I said, can you tell, I said, the clock is ticking up.
Wait a minute. Let me do the math just a second. Your daughter got pregnant at age 17. Okay.
Yes.
That's all right. Just throwing that in the hopper. All right.
Okay. So anyway, I asked her, I said, flat out, can you tell me, is there something I did in the past or something that happened with your mother? I really don't understand why I'm kind of like an outcast. And so I was kind of surprised. She says, well, do you really want to know? And it scared me a little bit, but I said, yes. She says, well, your granddaughter has same-sex attraction. I said, yes. And she says, well, the problem is you're too religious. I said, I'm too religious? Yeah. She says, you're one of these people that say, oh, you know what? I love my granddaughter even though she's gay. I really didn't know how to answer that, Doctor. So I didn't. She says, well, nice talking to you. And she hung up. And I just very insulted. I felt like I was being, punished for something I didn't do. And I still don't know, maybe there isn't any way to rectify this. But I just figured I'd, throw that out there and see if you had any thoughts on what maybe how I could handle this.
After she hung up on you, how long's it been since you've heard from her?
It's been about. Well, actually, she did send me a text on Father's Day, which is a first. And we had a family reunion this weekend, and she never showed up. I really didn't expect her to show up, and so I guess I talked to her about a month ago.
Okay. So when the 26-year-old granddaughter came out as same-sex attracted, that was the linchpin, the fulcrum, the turning point that she said, okay, now, Dad, your religion is starting to interfere with my family. Is that kind of where it's at?
It's kind of where it's at. She also, being that she's a child from my ex-wife, I kind of think I got a bad report card from her mother, and because even before my granddaughter came in the picture, she was always rather let's say not the most affectionate person.
Standoffish.
Yes.
Well, probably you've already been painted with being religious.
Right.
Okay. I was going to ask you, when she said you're too religious, I was going to ask you, did you ask her what she means by that? In other words, are you too preachy? Are you overtly judgmental? But you kind of clarified it. It sounds like she's saying, I don't like the way you think.
Yeah, because I've never, ever said anything derogatory against...
There you go. We live in an interesting time here, James, and that is people who have traditionally religious moral values, by many, are not allowed to have them. You're not allowed to have them. It's not enough that you would say, I love my granddaughter. That's not enough. You have to say, I love my granddaughter, and I absolutely applaud however she's living her life. Whatever's good for her is good for me. That's what you have to say.
Yeah.
If you don't,
yeah,
then you're going to be persecuted. Now, let me give you, I think, a statement that I've come to rely upon more and more as I get older. Jesus said, rejoice and be glad if you get persecuted because of me. Your reward will be great. In other words, you didn't do anything wrong, at least from what you're telling me anyway. Now, I know if I talk to them, they're going to say, yeah, let me tell you what my dad's like. Okay. But at least from what you're telling me, which is the only thing I got to go on, which is you've never demeaned her, you've never said anything, but your daughter at age 44 has decided once her daughter came out as same-sex attracted, that was the turning point where your religion really got in the way of her relationship, and she took it as a personal affront that you did not applaud overtly her daughter's choices. Now, you got two options here, my friend. You call her up. You say, I am so sorry. Whatever your daughter wants, whatever my granddaughter wants is absolutely wonderful with me. I just appreciate that so much, and God bless her. Do whatever you want to do. Or the other one is you call her up, you leave a message, and you say, I love her completely, but you're basically asking me to change my deepest held beliefs. I can't do that. And the one will lead to a continuance of the relationship with your daughter, which strikes me as it's fragile anyway, and you'll do something wrong in the next year or two anyway. So that's a given from your history. Is probably the way it is. And the other, you'll be estranged. She'll shut you out. And it will only be until she decides, one, you're allowed to believe as you believe, no reflection on her or her daughter. And two, the daughter may, in fact, decide she isn't same-sex attracted. That does sometimes happen with female same-sex attractions. There you go, my friend. There you go. 877-573-7825. I will get to you. Thank you so much for your patience, dear people. I was doing some training there at the Y where I work out now, and the trainer says I needed to do 30 crunches a day. I thought, well, it's an awful lot of chocolate, but I'll give it a shot. This is Dr. Ray. Thanks for joining me here on The Doctor Is In, Monday through Friday, 1 o'clock Eastern Time, co-production of the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network and Ave Maria Radio. Communications with my producer man, Andrew Kruchek, and Eric Dumont. Call screaming your calls. Susan from San Diego, listening on Sirius XM. Channel 130 used to be 160. I was closer to my IQ, but Sirius XM 130 is where we are now on the EWTN network. Yeah, it's a little below my IQ, but it's all right. Hi, Susan.
Hi, Doctor. I'll admit up front, I've never really listened to your show.
Oh, wait a minute. All right, just disconnect this call. You call me just because you need me. That's all this is.
No, too many weird things happen, and I know it's not like.
I feel used. I'm just another in a faceless parade of talk show hosts to you.
Well, here's what happened. I turned on my TV is on EWTN when you turn your TV on.
Yeah.
And it was your show. And because I was waiting for Mother Angelica, which is right after your show.
So, wait a minute. Wait a minute. So, first of all, you don't listen at all. You don't watch at all. And when you do watch, you weren't even wanting to watch me. You wanted to watch Mother Angelica.
That's exactly right.
This is not starting out good here, Susan.
Well, it's going to get good.
Okay.
Because I believe God has something to do with this. Because your guest, it was Dr. David Job. The last 2 minutes, and I just got to see that he was a suicide guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went, oh, wow, I said, that's interesting. So I kind of YouTubed him that there's he has a bunch of episodes on YouTube that I'll watch, but I'm working. So then I'm in my car, and your show's on when I turn my radio on.
I tell you what, you can't.
I got to call this guy.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Anyway, yeah. So, I'm 72. I'm not like.
You're just a pup, Susan. You're just a pup.
Well, I'm just saying that my daughter's 32, and she over the weekend I visited her where she lives in Nevada, and she's been having depression since November 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And since she's not around that much, only, holidays and stuff, I didn't know that she's having crippling depression and anxiety.
Yikes.
And so she went to a rehab place for 6 weeks, like a live-in place.
Because she was that depressed. She was non-functional.
Well, she's still working, but it's she could just does her work. But
so she basically admitted herself because she was that scared of the thoughts she was having.
Exactly. Okay. So she'd been living with a boyfriend for 10 years. She realized that was just nowhere. She wants to get married, have children, and he's said no. Now she's 32 and she's getting nervous about that clock. But that was what she told me back in November, December. But when I saw her this weekend, she was just having this anxiety to where she was putting her fingers on her neck because her heart was racing, and ever since she admitted, she goes, Mom, sometimes I think about killing myself. And it's something you never think you're going to hear, but at least she told me. Anyways, I just feel helpless. I just hugged her and stuff, and
Now, Susan, you're not helpless, dear. Okay, first of all, she's 32. She's single, I guess, obviously.
Yeah.
And this 10-year relationship was probably up and down all over the place, and she finally ended it and thought, what a waste of my life that was. So that's probably weighing on her, correct? That was the kind of the precipitating event that pushed her over the edge. Is that safe to say?
Well, yeah, she told him he had to go, and then, of course, now he wants to move back to where she lives and get a job there. He already accepted a job where she lives, and so it's going to make everything just go straight in the toilet. You know, I mean, like all the progress about that situation because she's lonely. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And all.
So she's got a lot of stuff, right? So she doesn't really have a history of depression. She's got a lot of stuff weighing on her right now that is causing the anxiety and the depression. Is that correct?
Well, she said she was depressed, but she always hid it from us. You know, it was always like, everything's good. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? And so
well, it sounds like what you're saying is she's very discontent with her life. That's the basis of an awful lot of depressions these days. I'm just discontent with my life, which is ironic because in many respects, this is the most comfortable life that human history has ever known here in America. So all that said, does she have a therapist?
Yeah, she was, but she said it's a joke, you know, some teletherapy guy that, I mean, during when she was in the rehab, they had hooked her up with someone and she was kind of happy about it, but that was mostly about getting the substance abuse thing.
She was using?
She was just taking caffeine and it was caffeine and pills to wake up pills to go to sleep. It wasn't like, you know, like street drugs.
So
Well, but
she's
it was.
medicating her sleep-wake cycle.
CVS.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
So that said, here's what you do. You call her up, you talk to her, and you say, hey, if you are not having success with your therapist, that's not uncommon. You generally owe no therapist loyalty. You know, half the people who come in my office have seen other therapists, all right? And they didn't get anywhere or they felt it wasn't helping them. Okay. So she can search for someone that she thinks would be more helpful to her. Get her to commit to you that if these thoughts ever overwhelm her, that she's feeling that they're really weighing on her, that she will call you. Get her to commit that you will call me. And then together we will decide where to go from there. Will she do that?
I think she will. And she already got rid of that therapist. She's not really seeing anyone right now.
Well, good. She needs to see someone.
Lots of people, you can find somebody,
Well, she's probably got the attitude of, oh, Mom, I tried therapy. It was just nothing. It's no burger.
Yeah.
Of course. But there are some really good therapists out there. And tell your daughter that you heard it from me, the person you never listen to and the person you never watch. I'd give you a lot better advice if you said you had.
I promise I'll start watching and listening.
Too late,
the
Susan.
The whole world is hearing me say
Season 16, you haven't seen it once. Okay, so that said, you tell her that you heard it from a guy that said, anxiety, believe it or not, is one of the easier things to fix through good therapy. It is. I got a book coming out dealing with that. And it is something that people think anxiety is just so overwhelming and unpleasant, but they don't understand how to rid themselves of it. And it's not as tough as they think. So get her some hope on that and tell her that.
Is that the book you were talking about?
Yeah, but it's not coming out till the fall. Yeah, it's not coming out till the fall. Yeah, that's a problem. But I do have some other books. Go look at those because they are life contentment type books. You could look at those too. Susan, thank you for calling, my dear. And you don't have to listen. It's okay. My wife doesn't listen either. This is Dr. Ray. Giving you a bit of a remedial psychological education on the doctors in here. The Guadalupe Radio Network, that is one incredible network. 48 stations, Texas, Kansas, New Mexico, Alabama, Florida, D.C., Virginia. Toya Hall, Sammy Rodriguez Jr., the GRN team. What a bunch of wonderful folks. I've been there so many times to speak with them. We've even done the TV show there. And as I said earlier on the program today, good Lord permitting, we will be offering via the Guadalupe Radio Network and Dave Palmer there in Dallas a parenting course, 7 weeks from me, starting September 21st. So if you go to grnonline.com / ooh, that's rough. / Academy, you can get the details and see if you want to sign up. And I will tell you, 7 weeks worth, we're going to conquer all those discipline problems. We're going to help you stand strong against the culture no longer on your side. You are going to be a more confident, sturdy parent. All things are going to be better in your home. Boy, how's that for an exaggerated sales pitch? We have an anonymous who did email me, remember that, from South Carolina. Hello there, sir.
Hey, Dr. Ray, how are you?
I'm doing great, thanks.
I got a 6-year-old son, and he's having issues focusing at school. He goes to a Catholic private school, and he's a great kid and stuff, but they don't have the resources to help him with his focusing. He's the kid that has to sit next to the teacher in class, and, every once in a while he gets called up for standing up in class or speaking in line. And so they told us that we may need to look elsewhere. We found another school, and this school focuses on kids with dyslexia. I think it's dyslexia. No, where you have trouble reading. But he was able to get into that school due to a delayed speech. And I don't know, I had a very hard time in school with myself. It was very tough for me. They kept on giving me Adderall, Ritalin, and all that. And the only thing that did for me is help me to focus more on my doodling, on my daydreaming. It didn't help me focus on my work. And I just wanted to hear what you had to say about it.
You come to me and you say you have a little 6-year-old guy who has been diagnosed ADHD. Who diagnosed him, Dad?
I guess it was the school district, but the private school's outside the school district. But they would have had people come in to give him the diagnosis. He has delayed speech. He has ADHD, and he also has working memory problem.
Okay, so here's always the complications on this. And this is, I think, one of the reasons why ADHD is overdiagnosed. If your little guy isn't quite up to snuff at a 6-year-old level, you described a couple of things. Working memory. In other words, he doesn't retain easily what he's learning. Also, he's distractible, but we don't know where that distraction is coming from. Is it all neurological, or is it that he really doesn't understand some of the work and it's harder for him? And very, very naturally, he retreats from it. That's 2. 3, I would suspect that the school, the Catholic school, wouldn't be so quick to say we can't handle him if he was not disruptive in class. It sounds like what you said was he's disruptive.
He is a little bit disruptive, but I don't think it's to the level that it is. I think some of the other parents say that they're kind of pretty strict, and they weren't looking forward to us switching schools. Come to find out, but we're just trying to do the best for him and trying to figure out what's right for him. Okay. But it's just.
I can't say what's...
Because he's just 6 years old.
Dad, I can't say what's right for him. However, I think some things you need to look at. One is his capacity to learn. If he's delayed a little bit in learning, it means that school is going to be more of a challenge for him. And when it's more of a challenge, it is much easier to drift off, not pay attention, disrupt, etc. That's 1. 2, standing up without permission is not ADHD. Well, it could be. It could be impulsive behavior. But by and large, disruption is not necessarily ADHD. It's a behavior issue. 3, I would want to look at you and your wife's discipline control also. I find that there's a connection with diagnosed ADHD and behavior problems. Because if, in fact, the kid is more impulsive than the norm, the parents oftentimes lose consistency and discipline because he's erratic. and then that breeds bad habits. So that'd be something I would explore with you. One of my experiences when somebody comes in with a 6-year-old who has been diagnosed ADHD or who has been kicked out of school or who has changed schools, I work with the parents to get their parenting under better control. A good part of the time, they will say, well, yeah, he still has that kind of distractible bent to him, but it's not as bad as it was. So those are all factors in this. Okay, so I guess what I'm saying to you is that you can't assume right out that ADHD is the core of all of his problems. There may be other things floating in this whole picture here. If you say, for example, he has speech delays, well, that's interesting because oftentimes speech delays, if they're not expressive speech delays, if they're receptive speech delays, in other words, I don't quite understand everything you're telling me at a 6-year-old level. If that's the case, that would indicate perhaps some overall academic intellectual delays. Now, if those are there, then one of the things you run into, and I know I'm giving you a quick primer in all this, but one of the things you run into is that ADHD is diagnosed not on the basis of chronological age. It's diagnosed on the basis of mental age. Now, mental age is a very broad concept, but you've got to kind of take that into account. So let's say that your little guy has a mental age of 5, not 6, 5. That means how far out of the norm is he in his distractibility and his impulsiveness for a 5-year-old, not a 6-year-old, for a 5-year-old. See, those are all things you all got to take into account. Now, I heard you say, I'm not sure about medication because, yeah, they gave me medication, and all it did was, in fact, not help me with my own school performance. There is indication that medication can work better with kids who are diagnosed ADHD as opposed to ADD, old terms, but I'll just use them. That said, the question becomes, in the long term, does it make any difference? That's always been the controversial aspect of it all. So in the short term, it may improve his focus. It may temper his impulsivity. But are there things you could do otherwise that might work also? So just a primer there, my friend, my dear dad. If you'd have tried to ask me to do that on an email, there's no way because I type 6 words a minute. God bless you. Thank you, my friend. This is Dr. Ray.
Today's programming on Ave Maria Radio is brought to you in part by a gift from our day sponsor, the Major Trevor Monfette Memorial Golf Outing. Trevor was a pilot for the Marine Corps and sadly died in 2021 at the age of 37 from colon cancer. Please support this event at Mystic Creek Golf Course on Monday, August 10th. More information is available on Facebook, Major Trevor Monfette Memorial Golf Outing. The last day to sign up is August 3rd.
If you want to be a day sponsor and or want to say a message for a loved one or friend, call 877-288-1077.
Jesus had great respect for the temple in Jerusalem, according to the Catholic Catechism. It was the special dwelling of his Father, where he could go and commune with him. Though he was God himself, he was perfectly willing to pay the temple tax, and yet he foretold the destruction of the temple, a time when there would not remain a stone upon a stone. Jesus, who was the ultimate dwelling place, the bodily temple of God, in enduring the death of that body, foretold the destruction of the temple. This, the Catholic Catechism says, would manifest the dawning of a new age in the history of salvation. The Lord declared, "The hour is coming when neither on the mountain nor in Jerusalem will you worship the Father." This is Peggy Stanton, and this has been the Order of Malta's Minute with the Catechism.
You're listening to Ave Maria Radio.
Ave Maria Radio.
Ever get asked one of those tough questions, like, do Catholics worship Mary? And in that moment, you freeze? Truthfully, the Catholic AI app gives you answers in seconds rooted in scripture, tradition, and the magisterium. Whether you're navigating a tough conversation, deepening your faith, or looking for daily spiritual guidance, Truthly helps you know, live, and defend the Catholic faith. Truthly can be found in the Apple App Store or Google Play. That's Truthly, Truthly.
Valdo has tied a record. He called right at the very top of the show, and that patient gentleman had been sitting there for close to 50 minutes. I hope he's on a smartphone so he can do all kinds of other things other than just have to listen to me. Hi, Valdo.
Hi, Dr. Ray. That's right. Been patiently waiting.
How can I help you, sir?
It's worth it talking to you.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
So I recently have a son, a newborn, and I don't want to vaccinate him at all. And I'm wondering, what do you have to say about it? And if in your experience with kids, you find something a little off about vaccines, that will be helpful as well, if you can elaborate on that.
There seems to be a group of research studies, longitudinal, that are pointing to possible complications with the amount of vaccines that kids are getting. Not so long ago, some decades back, the average was about 6. I think that's what I got. I think
that's what I got as well.
I think right now the combinations are close to 70, 72, somewhere thereabouts. And there are more and more voices coming out to say, we have to look at this. We can't just assume this is all good. There seems to be some indication that there can be physical and mental complications from this. I personally am flummoxed by the absolute explosion of autistic spectrum disorders. Absolute explosion. Somebody can say, well, Dr. Ray, wait a minute, come on now, we're more aware of it. Well, that I just can't see that accounts for all of this. When I was in grad school, we really did not study autistic disorders other than the extreme ones. We were not even aware that there was this whole other spectrum. Okay, and I was in a PhD program. So where are all these kids coming from? Type 1 diabetes has exploded among kids. It used to be a rare thing. It's not anymore. Asthma's exploded. What is going on out there? That question just has to be asked, my friend. And there are more and more parents who are saying, I'm holding off on certain vaccines. That's a parental decision. I would suggest you look into the research on this and see what you think, what it says. Now, obviously, there are those who say flat out, no, vaccines are wonderful, great things, and they have saved millions of lives. And I think that depends on what particular vaccines. There are certain vaccines that, from what I understand, are vaccinations against something that is rare, almost non-existent, and is not anywhere close to lethal. So all that said, my friend, that's sort of my overall impressions of that.
All right. Thank you. Thank
You're
you for
welcome.
that. And thank you for bringing so much joy to the world, okay?
Well, I'm glad.
Appreciate
I'm
it.
glad you hung along that long. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'd have thought, I told Eric to call you and say, is he going to be complimentary or is he not? I said, if he's not, just hang up on him. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, my
definitely.
friend. God bless you on that little one there.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
That's great. Now, Susie is going to be complimentary. That's right. Thank you, Susie. Susie, you can compliment now.
Hello, Dr. Ray.
You can compliment now.
Oh, I was just going to let you know that listening to the story of the father and his 6-year-old and what you said, I've been teaching for about 24 years, and I have seen that so many times where a lot of parents feel like, oh, my child's been diagnosed with ADHD, I'm going to medicate him. And they go to the medication so quickly, where you're saying a lot of times it could be the discipline. And I have seen that so many times as well. I've even had parents where I've said, I want to try to see if I can take my child off medication. Can I try it this year? They try it. We try some discipline. I teach at a public school, so I can't tell the parents to pray, but I do. I pray for my students. I pray that the parents can try something different instead of going straight to the medication. There's so many long-term effects that parents should be aware of before doing that. So thank you so much, Dr. Ray, for suggesting that, because I do see that often.
You know what, Susie? You know what you just did for me? You are a woman who told me I'm right. Now, I last heard that in 2012, okay? So if I'd have known you were going to tell me I'm right that quickly, we'd have just leapfrogged you over everybody else.
You're right, Dr. Ray. God is speaking through you, and the more we pray, God helps us. And that's why I'm always anyone that's my family, I always tell them that has little children, pray. God will help you with disciplining your children. I always prayed for my own children. My children are adults already. But
we need teachers like you, Susie. We sure do. Thank you for calling, honey. This is Dr. Ray. Walk with God. Don't get distracted on that walk.
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. The Doctor is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.